chair of the House Armed Services Committee, California Republican Buck McKeon, who was part of yesterday's White House meeting with President Obama. Mr. McKeon, Chairman McKeon, thank you ever so much for coming on. Let me just begin with this point. Where are you in this process? Are you inclined to favor a war resolution or to oppose one, sir?
You know, I've been listening to this back and forth and how things are changing by the minute. Thanks for having me on, Larry, but it's becoming laughable. I mean, the president made an announcement. He met with his cabinet. They went out and said we have to strike immediately. I was first called last week to get my input on this, and I thought that this attack would have been over by now. But it's changed daily. Yesterday, I told the president in that meeting that we can't keep asking the military to do more with less. You know, over the last couple of years, he has surged the troops in Afghanistan and cut the military budget. He had flights over Libya and cut the military budget. He changed to a Pacific strategy while cutting the Navy back to smaller than it's been since World War I. And the Pacific's a pretty big place and a lot of responsibility for the Navy, and cut the military budget. We've cut over $1 trillion over the last couple of years and going forward at the next 10 years. And then turn around and ask them to do something else. Well, yesterday in the meeting, he said this was going to be a limited response, but a very powerful response. I don't know how you equate those two things. And he said,
I don't understand that. Sir, with all respect, I mean, I don't understand that. Look, I get your point. I think the military budget has been cut too much. And I know a lot of, veteran military analysts who believe the same thing. We don't even have enough bombers. We don't have enough bombers. And I don't know whether we're going to run out of Tomahawks or not. I'm not smart enough to know. You would know that. So that's all got to be fixed. But what I'm really gunning for, what I'm really asking is, in that White House meeting, and in your own thinking, Mr. Chairman, in your own thinking, to make this worthwhile, shouldn't we take out the Air Force? Shouldn't we take out the airfields, the artillery, the supply depots, and so forth? In other words, it is, in effect, a de facto regime change, whether the president wants to acknowledge that or not. His credibility and the credibility of America is on the line. We can't just stand by and let these, two-bit dictators have weapons of mass destruction without doing anything. Did that come up in the White House meeting? Did anybody put it like that? It's our credibility. It's our White House. It's our own presidency.
Well, that's what everything was up until today. Because yesterday, the president had been the one that drew the red line. Now today, I guess he says he didn't draw the red line. I'm a little befuddled. But America is... our credibility may be, I don't know if America's credibility is on the line. I think the commander-in-chief's credibility is on the line. And I told him yesterday he needs to go to the American people. He's the one that's elected by everybody. He needs to look in the camera, look them right in the eye, and tell them how he made the decision. That didn't sit too well with him. He said, it's not just the president. You guys have to go out and basically sell it too. It's more than just the president. But then I talked to him about, you need to tell them how you made the decision. They need to understand. You're the one that has all the facts, all the information, and they need to understand how you came to this decision. That bothered him a little bit too. He said, well, there was no, I guess he thought I was saying that his decision-making process wasn't good because
but you wouldn't be
there was a decision Friday and a decision Saturday.
You wouldn't be the only one. I mean, I was on TV Friday night waiting for it to happen, and I was on radio Saturday morning waiting for it to happen, and so were a lot of other reporters and anchors. I mean, General Keane has said publicly on a number of occasions, former four-star retired and a brilliant guy in my humble opinion, Keane has said that this policy of delay and hesitation has done our credibility a lot of harm, and it's also helped Assad. It's helped him get out of the way. It's helped him move stuff that we maybe can't bomb. We can bomb the stuff that stands still, but we can't bomb the stuff in the suburbs of Damascus. In that White House meeting, Did you or Mr. McKeon or other people mention this kind of thing?
Mr. McKeon wasn't there. It was the chairman of the committees and the leadership. McKeon had met privately the day before with Lindsey Graham and the president. But that's been kind of the whole purpose of this week, is the president's credibility. We have to stand behind the president because he made a statement, and if we don't stand behind him, and if we don't follow through, because he drew the red line and they crossed the red line. They actually crossed it almost a year ago. They used chemical weapons, and we ignored that. This time they did it in a bigger way, and a lot of people were killed, and the media picked up on it, and we've seen all these children that were killed. You know, there's been over 100,000 people killed in the last couple of years in this battle over there. It's a proxy fight. Russia's on the other side. Iran's on the other side. We're on this side, and we don't even know who's really on our side. Well, it's a big mess.
Mr. Chairman, it is a big mess, sir. We're running out of time. Just in the last few moments, you're undecided. Many Republicans are undecided in the House and in the Senate, for that matter. What would it take? Is there one single aspect that you'd like to see that would put you on the side? I'm going to use John McCain as an indicator here, so that this is a meaningful bombing operation that essentially takes Assad out of play, brings in a new group, and stops the weapons of mass destruction. Is there one element that you'd need to see to vote in favor of these resolutions?
Yes, I want to see sequestration stopped. I want to see these harmful cuts to the military stopped when we're asking them to do more. If they would do that, if they would get rid of sequestration and let the military know so that they can plan properly. I mean, you're an economist, you're a businessman, you know that you have to make plans. These chiefs have not been able to plan 1 year ahead on their spending. It's ludicrous.
No, I hear you, sir. I hear you. And it's a very interesting response, but you're probably going to be right. To make this thing work, sequester is going to have to be vastly amended to accommodate the military budget. Anyway, Chairman Buck McKeon, head of the Armed Services Committee, we appreciate your thoughts, sir. We appreciate your coming here. All best of luck on this vexing national